we are together again on the radio. Listen to this letter. I'm not going to tell you the name of the person who wrote it. She signs herself Just Another Attention Whore. And tell me if this has happened to you. Hello, Tom. I've learned a lot about how men think from listening to your show. I often quote your show at home to my husband in order to make a point. He's the one who originally turned me on to your talk show. And now it drives him crazy when I use the phrase, well, Tom Leykis says. We both find Leykis 101 to be very entertaining. But, of course, my husband is the exception to all of your rules. According to him, he doesn't fit into any of the categories or stereotypes. We are high school sweethearts, and now in our 30s, married with 2 children. We both attended UCLA, and we have good careers. And, of course, listening to your show has made me feel like we both missed out on something. We were each other's first sexual experience. And I would like to be able to say only experience. But not so. After listening to your show, and I'm not blaming you, I accept full responsibility for my actions, I had this uncontrollable urge to have an affair. And that's not to say that you encourage extramarital affairs, because I don't believe that you do. Rather, you say that we should get all of that out of our system before we settle down and get married. Well, I didn't. And now I find myself wanting to play. He found out about the affair and has forgiven me. We've been to counseling and supposedly worked everything out. But I still have this insatiable urge to play. What's the deal? And how do I get over this? He's a good man. You know, excellent husband, father of our children. And I just can't seem to shake this need to explore and be explored. I guess the verbal praise and attention from other men should be enough. Sincerely, just another attention whore. Now, I'm wondering if you can relate to this woman's sentiments. You were only with one person. You were married to the right guy, right girl, whatever. But listening to the escapades of the people who call in and report their activities on the radio made you want more. And you went out and got it. Now I'm going to tell you a story about somebody I know who's in this boat. We haven't spoken in a while, but he was a frequent listener to this show and also to Howard Stern. And without giving too many facts away that would reveal his identity, he's not a famous person or anything, but certainly his friends know who he is. So does his family. I'm going to tell you about somebody I know. Now, understand, this person, and again, I am changing some of the facts of the story to conceal his identity, but they are not essential to the story itself. This guy, married, daughters, perfect life, makes a great living, lives in a large house on an even larger piece of property somewhere in Southern California. And a regular FM talk listener. Listening to my show, listening to Howard Stern. Now, Howard Stern's show and mine are not the same, although we do have some of the same listeners in Southern California and some other cities, because clearly there are some areas of discussion that overlap. Our styles are different. The shows are different. But we talk about issues that a particular demographic cares about. And there are certain areas where our paths do cross. And we have a lot of the same listeners. But this guy was the epitome of Mr. Suburbs, Mr. Family Man, Mr. Raising his kids and all that. Kids, perfect. Wife, hot. Business, good. Money, lots of it. Not in the radio business. Somebody I knew who was in another business. We were going to a hockey game one night. I'm driving with him to the game. He's driving, by the way. I'm sitting in the passenger seat. And I'm just expecting that, as I've told you, guys don't like talking about their sex lives. Guys don't like talking. I'm one of those guys, I'll tell you if I nailed somebody, but I really won't get into the details. And so when I go to a hockey game with someone who's a family guy, I'm expecting we'll talk about hockey, business, boozing, and at worst, maybe we see a hot chick walk across the room. Maybe we're at the bar at the game or something. We see a hot chick, we'll comment on that. And that's what I was expecting this particular evening. But the drive down to the game from where we began was about 35 minutes, and we're sitting in traffic. And my friend looks over to me in the passenger seat and says, I've been having some rough times lately. And I asked him why. And he said that over the summer his wife had left for a summer home they had 3,000 miles away. And she took the daughters, and he had to stay in town and work. And so while the wife was out of town, he wasn't doing much cooking or anything. So he would toddle on over to a nearby TGI Fridays to watch the games, to eat potato skins, to do a little boozing. Now, you could do that any number of places. TGI Fridays, my knowledge of TGI Fridays has always been that it's, if you were ever going to date your receptionist, it would be a good place to meet her, and she'd be there having a Long Island iced tea when you got there. And then you get some potato skins, and then you move on from there. That's TGI Fridays. That's always been my understanding of TGI Fridays. Or maybe it's a place you go out to work, go out after work with the people at work. But this guy was alone for the summer and wasn't doing any cooking, and so he would go over there and eat like every night. And he would eat at the bar. He'd sit at the bar, he'd be watching a game, and he would order food and booze, and then at the end of the game, get up and leave. So he told me that one night he was sitting at the bar, eating, drinking, and these two chicks sat down next to him and got into a conversation with him. And before long, he found out that the two of them were lesbians. And they told him they'd always been talking about the possibility of having a threesome with a guy. Now, here's what, this again, understand, this is a friend of mine who told me, I understand, he's not a groupie. At least, I didn't see him as a groupie. He was a friend of mine. And he told me that because he listened, again, family man, daughters, hot wife, money, big house, everything going for him. And what does he tell me? He tells me that he listens to Howard Stern, and he listens to my show, and he hears all this talk all the time about lesbians and threesomes and all that. And despite the fact that he was happily married All this talk, over and over and over, day in and day out, made him curious. Kind of like the letter writer who hasn't been with anybody but her husband. And so he told these two women, these two alleged lesbians, he told them that not far from TGI Fridays, wherever it is he lives, there's a million TGI Fridays around, not far from TGI Fridays was his house, and he had a hot tub. And why don't the three of them all go over there and drink some daiquiris and get into the hot tub? And these two women agreed. And his wife was on the East Coast with the daughters. And so this friend of mine, a family man, goes over to his house with these two women. They get in the hot tub. And the two of them are macking on each other. And pretty soon, everybody's in the game. After they're done boozing and doing whatever else they're doing, my friend takes them back in the car, back to the parking lot of TGI Fridays, where they get in their car and they leave. Meanwhile, my friend thinks that he's gotten away with the crime of the century. Now, understand, this is somebody who, if you saw him, you would say, suburban, successful, great family. But he listened to the radio so much, he was influenced so much by what he heard, by what all the people were doing who called into the shows. He had to try this. Now, there's two different things I'm going to do here. One is, I want to find out. Now, are you somebody like this? Are you somebody like the letter writer? Are you somebody like my friend who heard all of these escapades, people having sex with their fathers-in-law, people having sex with their girlfriend's fiancé, people having sex, they're straight and they try out lesbianism, people trying out threesomes with two lesbians. Are you one of these people who has tried this? Are you thinking about doing it because you hear it on the radio? You can call me at 1-800-5800-TOM. It's 1-800-5800-866. And we will take your calls. But I got one more little nugget for you. When we come back, there's more to this story. It's going to knock you out.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
So what's a guy in for if he goes out with you?
A good leg.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Now let me tell you the rest of the story, and then we're going to get to your calls at 1-800-5800-TOM. So my buddy had his experience in the hot tub at his home with these two lesbians. And a few months later, summer ended. He and I were going to a hockey game, of course, and that means that it was after October sometime. So the story had happened in the past. So by the time he and I were heading to this hockey game, his wife had returned from their summer home with the kids. And there they were, sitting in their huge suburban Los Angeles home. And one Saturday afternoon, phone rings. My buddy picks it up. Hello? And the voice at the other end says, "Remember me?" My buddy said, "No, who is this?" He said, person at the other end said, "I was in your hot tub with you this summer, remember?" And he said, "I can't talk to you about this right now. My wife is here." And she said, "Well, actually, that's why I'm calling." She said, "I want $10,000. And if you don't give me $10,000, I'm going to tell your wife what we did that night." And he said, "You'll never get away with it." And she said, "Oh, yes, I will." He said, "You'll never get through to her." She said, the woman on the other end of the line said, "You know what? I'm going to keep calling Because you know what? You have to leave that house eventually. Or you'll be in the bathroom. Or you'll be tied up doing something else. You'll be raking the leaves, and then I will get through on the phone, and I will tell her, unless you give me $10,000. He said that's never going to happen. And as he hung up the phone, he turned around, and his wife was there and said, "You look like you've just seen a ghost, honey." And he said, well, just doing a little business on the phone here, that's all. Before he could finish the sentence, the phone rang again. And he picked up again. And it was her again. And his wife now is standing in the room, and he keeps going, "Look, I can't talk about this right now, okay? I gotta go. Goodbye." He hangs up, and the phone rings again. Long story short, finally, he did have to go take a whiz. And he thought he would get away with it. He went to the bathroom and closed the door and presumably sat down. And the phone rang. And this time, he couldn't get to the phone. His wife picked up the phone. "Hello?" And all he could hear was his wife's voice in the other room going, "Uh-huh. Yes, this is she. Uh-huh. Really? Is that so?" And the first thing she said was, "Well, I don't believe you. I think you're making this up just to extort money." Well, you know what the woman on the other end of the phone said? "I know where you live. I was in your hot tub. I was inside your house. I can tell you what kind of furniture you have." So as to not belabor this issue, just trust me when I tell you, there's an awful lot of counseling after that. And last I heard, these two are not together anymore. Years and years of happiness, children, the suburbs, everything. At least it appeared to be happiness. And the big crack appeared because this guy listened to the radio, heard all these people getting it on and having threesomes and having fun with other people they're not married to and what have you. Are you one of these people? Are you influenced by all this? Do you wonder what you missed out on?
The Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
At 1-800-5800-TOM. All right, you've heard all of these radio programs with people doing all this wild stuff. Has it changed your life in any way? Sean on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, Sean.
Listen, this is where it starts. About 7 years ago, I met this gal. Wife has always been a good person, real good wife. Love her to death. Met with this gal. We started having an affair, seen each other for a couple months, and went to break it off, and so she wouldn't let me break it off. And short in the deal, she got a hold of my wife. They got together, and one day I came home from work, and they're both sitting in the living room waiting for me to get home. So they got together and basically decided that neither one of them wanted me, so I packed up my stuff and I moved. About a month after that, I was called to go out with my wife to meet with her to discuss how we were going to do our divorce. And lo and behold, she was with the gal that I was having an affair with. Come to find out, they moved in together and decided that they wanted me to move in with the both of them. And here I am 7 years later living with the two gals here in Seattle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, needless to say, I've got 4 kids at home and got the wife and the girlfriend both. I guess lucky for me, I'm not having to go through the divorce or pay child support. But honestly, I'd rather get rid of the girlfriend and just keep the wife and try to make things back the way they used to be. But
and this all began with what? Watching TV, listening to the radio. How did this all begin?
you know, basically watching TV, listen to Stern. I'm a true fan of Stern. Just started listening to you recently, and the wife loves your show, and basically, you know, just listening to this and listening to that, thinking, well, gee, you know, I'm kind of missing out on a lot of things, and you know, maybe the grass is greener on the other side, and, you know.
Is it?
Here I am today, 7 years later. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I love my wife to death. She's an awesome lady. Wish I hadn't done what I did, but I'm kind of in that boat now. And you know, through it all, I found out she's bisexual, which is kind of cool, I guess. But not the situation I'd want to be in right now, or want to be in.
I understand.
So, you know, your listeners out there, you know, it's, you know, if you're going to do something, just make sure that's what you want to do. You know, because like I said, I'm a fairly attractive guy. I could have just about any girl I want, but the only one I really want is the one I got right now, and do anything to get back the way things were before I stepped off the porch.
I understand, Sean. Thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. All this radio listening and TV listening, what has it done? Has it made you want to try some of the wild stuff you've heard? Maricela, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
I've been wanting to call you so bad, and I finally got the guts to do it.
Here we are.
My husband does not like me to listen to you.
Oh, boy.
I think he's a little scared.
I'll bet he is.
Well, in high school, I was really bi-curious. It started then, never did nothing about it. Got married, had a little girl, and just recently I started listening to your show. I found it interesting. And just recently we started doing the strip bars and doing this and that. Does
he know that that's why you want to go to strip bars?
Okay, yeah, he knew that was something I've always wanted to do.
Right.
Because it's just something that's always been on my mind. Wanted to try it, wanted to get it out of the way just to see what it feels like.
Yeah.
And we did go, both of us, and frankly, I do not want him involved.
Oh, boy.
I want to try it, but I want to try it by myself.
Ooh. Does he know this?
Yes, he knows it.
How did he react to that?
He doesn't like it.
Does he know you got that from listening to the radio?
I think so. I think that's why he said he doesn't like me to listen to your show anymore.
Oh, he doesn't like me.
Yeah, he doesn't like you. You bring out the bad side of me.
Oh, yeah, I love the bad side of you. So, have you pulled this off yet, or what are you going to do now?
I don't know. He seen my reaction the first time we went and we did this, and he liked it. He liked it a lot.
Because he was there and he felt like he had control over it.
Yes.
And you want to completely lose control.
Yes.
Listen to you. I know a Tom Leykis listener when I hear one.
But I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do because I'm scared because what if I like it?
Well, that's what I always, you are a regular listener because that's what I always tell everybody who tries this.
Yeah.
And you just might like it.
I might. I think I might. And that's what he's scared of, too, because I don't want to bring him in it.
And that's why, because you might really, really like it.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So you haven't taken this to the next level yet?
Oh, no. The last time I was at the strip bar, the girl was a really nice girl. But really, you can't touch or do nothing there. I was able to do everything.
You were?
I was.
You mean, were you in a back room there or something?
No. I was touching her everywhere, and she let me, and she was making me touch her, and she was touching me, and we were just out on the floor with everybody else. Really.
This was a strip club, huh?
This was a strip club.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're getting hot just telling me about it. Listen to you.
Oh, yeah. I think I did turn the AC.
You don't want your husband to watch. You want me to watch.
Oh, God.
And I would, too. I'd take a night off to do this.
Oh, God. So I really don't know what to do now. Like, I really want to try it, but I really don't want to bring him into it. And if I mean, I think the day I do try it, I think he's going to find out if he's not there or if he is. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
If he's not there, he's going to know something's going on.
He's going to know because you're going to have that satisfied look on your face.
Yeah.
By the way, you said you touched her all over and she touched you all over. Did you have an orgasm?
Not quite.
Not quite, but you were almost there.
Almost there.
Really?
It was fun. It was crazy. It was fun. It was something that I've always had on my mind and something I've always wanted to try, and I did it.
Wow. Now you want to try it again.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, boy. Now, you're not asking for my advice here, are you?
I don't know.
You don't want my advice. You don't want my advice.
Oh, I already know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
It would be like asking me.
All right. What would my advice be?
To go ahead and try it.
No. That would not be my advice.
Okay, what would be your advice?
Now, might understand that you not only you're married, but you have a kid too.
Right, I do.
With him.
Right.
All right. My advice, if you ask me for it, which you haven't, would have been that no, you don't try it.
I don't try it.
No, because you're married and you have a kid, and it is entirely possible you would like this. This is something you should have done before you got married.
Yep.
And it's not because I'm, Dr. Turkey Neck or I'm a religious freak or anything like that. If you love your husband and if you want your marriage to survive, you have to make rules, and this is one you got to keep and not do anything.
Okay, right. I understand that, but see, say I do have a threesome with him. Either way, my marriage is going to go down the drain.
I don't think you should have a threesome either.
Exactly, but that's what he's pushing me to do. So if he's pushing me to have a threesome, then why can't I just do it myself?
Well, again, if you go this route, your marriage probably won't survive.
Yep.
So now maybe you've decided that you just want to do whatever you want. You don't want to be married. But if that's what you've decided, well, there you go. But if you want your marriage to survive and you want to live with your kid as one big happy family, best thing to do is tell your husband that this is very dangerous territory you don't want to get into.
Yep.
And you know what? If you were curious about this stuff, the time to do this, high school, college, whatever. But not now.
So I shouldn't try it?
No. If you want my advice. I mean, you know, I can't reach out of the phone and wring your neck. I mean, you'll do whatever you want.
Neither.
Who's that in the background there?
That's my friend.
Oh. All right. Well, you know, that would be my advice to you.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you don't care if your marriage survives.
With your husband?
Right? Do you?
I do, but...
Well, I'm telling you, if you want your marriage to survive, you don't do stuff like that. If you don't care, go for it. But I'm telling you, I have too many friends. I've had too many experiences. Once you do this, you've crossed a line you can never go back. Do you know that? Hang on. Jennifer, what do you want to say to Maricela here?
Hi, Maricela. I was calling pretty much to say the same exact thing Tom is telling you. I stepped out of the room and I came back in and he's saying the same thing. Just that if you want to have a happy marriage and you still want to be a mommy to your baby, you might have to bury these thoughts and feelings. Like, maybe you should have taken some time and done this before you actually got married.
That's why I tell people not to get married at 23, like Maricela.
Right.
Yep.
The other choice would be, if it's so strong that you can't handle it, then invite him into it. But like Tom said, it's very, very dangerous. I've had threesomes, not with my husband. And not only the physical aspect, but then think about your husband's feelings and the way that what he's going to be thinking when he's at work. Oh my God, is Maricela with her lover? It'll just tumble over into the personal life so strong.
Yeah.
It looks a lot better on paper than it does in the real world.
It sounds stronger. Yeah,
let me tell you something I once did. Okay, I was not married, but I had a friend who had a girlfriend who invited me over to his place, and he wanted to watch me do his wife. And I did.
And?
And she appeared to like it a little too much.
Oh, God.
And you should have been around the next morning and felt the tension.
You stayed the night?
Well, it like went on all night.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we didn't sleep or anything.
Yeah.
And the next morning, it was like he was practically telling her to pack her bags.
Wow.
Stuff like that happens, and you don't count on that happening until you find out the hard way.
Are you in love with your husband? Are you happily married?
Yes, I am.
I would just say, friend to friend, girl to girl, be happy because you don't want to end up a single mother just like all the other women he's talking about. Then anytime you go and have any kind of fun, you're just going to be another whore.
Yep.
Sorry to tell you.
Oh, boy. The Tom Leykis Show. Has all this listening to the radio made you curious about stuff you were never curious about, and now there you were with a happy relationship, happy marriage, whatever? Now you want to test the boundaries of it? 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. It's Tom on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
No, not much, Tom.
Well, I've been listening and decided to call in. I am in a little bit of a predicament myself. I'm engaged, 23 years old, 22, about to be 23. My fiance is the same age, and she's getting curious. And before, she wants to bring somebody to the bedroom, another female.
Not from listening to the radio.
Well, there's media everywhere, buddy. I mean, you're talking sex sells, and it's selling pretty much everything nowadays. She sees, she's picked up my Maxim magazine or my Stuff magazine, something along those lines, and she's like, of recent months, oh, she's hot. I wouldn't mind that, those types of things. And, if it would have been, before the engagement, or if it would have been a different girl altogether before I met her, I would have been all for it. But now I'm not so sure that that's necessarily what I would want. And the main reason being, especially in a marriage, my values are that sex with anyone other than your spouse or future spouse is infidelity, and that's just something that you have to walk away from.
Right.
So.
And you told her this. What does she say to that?
She doesn't know how to react. I mean, she's curious, and I've always told her, be the person that you need to be. Whether it's somebody who spends their money all the time or saves their money all the time, or... But
do you see why you're getting married too young, and so is she? I mean, this is the kind of thing I'm always talking about.
Well, see, I don't view it as being too young.
I know you don't, but this is what happens. This is what happens.
Oh, my parents are a prime example of...
Your parents were born 30, 40 years ago.
This is true.
This is a different age. The average man now gets married in the United States at 28. Not 22.
But there's a lot that goes along with that, too. I mean, there's a lot of... guys nowadays are not the same type of guys that they were in my parents' generation.
In your parents' generation, people didn't have threesomes as often, if they ever did. Very few of them had orgies. There's very little of that going on. There's very little that people felt like they missed out on, the way they do today.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-866.
I went and did this Dick Clark TV show, The Other Half, and they showed a video on the show of all these firemen in uniform, and the woman stood up and said, oh, I'd do anything for the fireman, Dick. And then I realized she was talking to Dick Clark.
The Tom Leykis Show.